Hey everybody, it's Brenda with mypastorswifedesigns.com, and today I wanted to show you how to use this little steampunk owl that we created the other day using the owl punch. I used embossing folder and owl punch, and I created this little steampunk owl just using some simple findings, a toggle clasp, a little bit of chains and some gears. But you know, it's always fun to create these things, and then we have, like I do, a whole parliament of owls by the time I was finished. What can I do with them? Well, I decided that I would go ahead and show you guys how to make a card incorporating our little steampunk owl with some other things and coming up with this great card. I love this card. It goes together really fast. And like I said, if you've already got your owls made up, you can just put these things together in no time, and they are absolutely beautiful. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I did was I got some very vanilla cardstock. I laid it on my scoring tool, and I scored it at 4.5 inches. Or no, excuse me, 4.25 inches. Then I cut it in half at 5.5 inches. The beauty of this is I can make 2 cards with 1 score, and it saves me time. Now I want you to notice, because this is the very vanilla cardstock, and you're going to do this with the Whisper White as well, there is your score line right here called the valley. I don't want to fold it that way. I want to fold it with the mountain side up, because that way it's not going to tear or split, and you just get a crisper look. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to again fold this with the mountain side inside. Take my bone folder, give it a nice crease, and there you have it. You've got your card base ready. Now I also went ahead and I had some basic aluminum foil that I picked up at the dollar store, and I put it on some cardstock that I had stamped and actually ruined the cardstock, but I hate to throw it away when it's a good piece. So what I did was I put glue stick all over the cardstock. Then I laid the aluminum foil on top of it. Then I took my brayer and I pressed it down really well to get a nice smooth finish and also have it adhere to the cardstock really well. And then I also wrapped it around the edges. So now is what I'm going to do. I've already put some snail on this. I'm going to make sure that it's all ready to go down. A little bit more snail might not hurt anything. Go ahead and just give it a little bit more. And I am going to go ahead and I'm going to put it down onto my card front, just like that. Give it a nice press all the way around. All right, there we go. There is the basis of it. I embossed it. I ran it through my embosser, my Big Shot, using a Tim Holtz Alterations embossing folder with the gears. And then what I did is I got all my other pieces ready. So I found some paper that I thought would look nice, paper that I already had on hand. If you don't have paper, it's great to buy it, but if you have paper, try to use it up. That way you don't have a huge stockpile, and then you can get more fun stuff that you can use. So I went ahead and I had this piece double-sided, but because he's got the these colors on him, I certainly don't want to really use the blue. I ran this also through my Big Shot using this embossing folder. It's the zigzag embossing folder that Stampin Up offers, and it gives a little more texture, which is what I want on a steampunk card. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use this for one of my layers. And what I did was I took, and actually I'm going to set this aside for a second. We're going to get just a little piece of paper here so I don't ruin my background. And I have this label. I got it from the Build a Bouquet set. I had lots of extras left over and I didn't want to throw them away. I figured there was something I could do with them. So I got him, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set that there, and I'm going to grab my little dauber, and I'm going to take my early espresso ink, and I am going to just run this over the top of my little label tag. And what I did with this one, again, I like the textures you get from using the embossing folders. This was also a Tim Holtz. It was also in the set that the gears were in. It's called Alterations. And I ran it through and I just kind of decided where do I want to and make it interesting. And the great thing is you can make them all different. I ran several through at one time. That's why they're different. Okay, I went ahead and I got that done. While I've got my ink out, I am going to go ahead and I am going to take my punch and I am going to just do a quick punch of, I think I want to use this cardstock. No, I think I want to use a little bit different color. I'm going to use this one. It's got a little bit of green to it. I'm going to run in here, just give that a nice punch. And I'm going to also take my little dauber again, and I'm just going to come in and give it a little bit of interest by adding a little bit of ink around the edges. I like that it makes it a little more, not so simple, not so crisp. I don't want it to be crisp for what I'm doing. All right, got that done. Now I'm going to go ahead and I am going to use a stamp that I got out of my Guy Greetings set. I don't make a lot of masculine cards, and I realized it's because I don't have any really great masculine sets. So I picked this one up and I have not regretted it. I love the old card. It's a photopolymer set. Pretty good set. It has all of these great stamps in it. And I've used the card, the tools, and can't wait to use some of the rest of them. Look at all these great words. Anyway, a really fun set. But today I'm going to use the Happy Birthday. And I've already got it mounted on my little clear cube here. So I'm going to go ahead and kiss my stamp because I don't want it so super inky that it's a mess. I'm going to come down and I am going to stamp right towards the bottom of my label. There we go. Looks great. It's ready to go. Then I'm going to go ahead and set this aside for a moment. And we're going to get another layer here, one more piece, and I'm going to use my leaf punch. As you can tell, I've been busy at that. When you have a Parliament of Owls, you're going to make a lot of cards. So I went ahead and I've stamped, or I've punched out my leaf, and I am going to go ahead. I just want to add a little bit of interest. I'm going to give it some veins with my marker. There we go, and that's ready. So I've got my layers, all but this one, and I as I said, I used the zigzag embossing folder, and I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to grab my label, and I want to set it on here and kind of see where I want to, actually I want to lay it on here, I want to see where we're at, and I know that I want it to be about like that. So I'm just going to take my marker again, and I'm going to give it a little tick mark right about there. I'm going to go ahead and trim this up because I'm also going to do some tearing on it, and I'm not quite sure where I want to do that yet. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. I want to give it another little tick mark. The reason I'm doing this is because we have one more step with the label. I'm going to go ahead and trim that so that it's ready. Now I am going to take and use just a little piece of ribbon. Again, you can use what you have on hand. If you don't have any on hand, feel free to pick some up. There's lots of great colors. I like more with the steampunk to stick with the darker colors. I just think it falls in line more with that theme. So we're going to go ahead. Probably didn't need to cut that as long as I did, but you know what? I have issues with my fine motor skills, and so you know what? I don't mind cutting a little bit off. I'd rather enjoy myself and cut a little bit of ribbon off than be frustrated. All right, I've got that ready, and I'm going to go ahead and just give that a quick snip because that's about all I want on there. Toss that aside. All right, we're ready to go. Now is what I'm going to do is I am going to adhere this to my other piece that we cut out here. Want to line it up at the bottom so that my edges and the bottom are all about even with each other, and just adhere that down. Now I don't want the top of that to be super straight and again crisp and clean, so is what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this edge and I'm just going to give it a little tear, and there we go. Now I'm going to, well, I'm going to get that out of the way. Now I'm going to adhere this down right there using my snail This would be a good color too for the steampunk, but we're going off that, so I don't want to get too many wild colors going on. I'm going to set that down right there, stick it down. Now we're going to take our label that we made that says happy birthday, a little bit of snail again, and I'm going to just kind of eyeball it and stick that down about right there. Same thing with my leaf. And I want to line that up onto my label, but I also want to bump it out so that it is almost to the edge of my card. And I'm going to go ahead and just stick that down there. Now, the other day when I was making the video showing our little steampunk owl, remember I talked about the toggle clasps and how we could use this piece, because we already used that piece for his monocle, we could use this as a perch, which is what I did this card. But I came across some keys that I had, and I thought, oh my gosh, keys are so steampunk. So I am going to go ahead and I am going to place this key about right here, and I want to see how this would look. I like it, but I think I want to maybe turn it over. I think that I might like that better. Yep, I like that better. So I'm going to go ahead and I am just going to put a few, I think we'll use glue dots. Let's do that, just so he sticks down. I always like to use my paper piercer to pick those up. It's a lot easier for me, and I'm going to just stick that on there and kind of, shape it around so it fits and doesn't stick out the front. And let's go ahead and just do one more right there. It's going to work great. All right, and then I'm just going to go ahead and place this at the corner of the leaf and on right there. Now I'm going to take some Stampin Dimensionals. I like these because it gives a little pop off the card. Makes my little owl stand up a little bit more. I'm going to put one, probably going to run 3 down here just because I don't want him to have any bend in the middle if he gets sent in the mail. Keep in mind, if you mail this, there will be some extra postage required. I work at the UPS store, and trust me, these little guys are going to take a little bit of extra postage, but you know what? In my opinion, it's worth the extra 20 or 40 cents to send it out. It's a fun card to get, and people like to get things from us that are personal, and they see our handwriting and that we took time, and I mean, it's 40 cents. Come on, guys. All right, I'm going to go ahead and we're just going to take and set him down so he is sitting on his little perch. Press him down, and voila, there you go. So there is your steampunk cards, and I told you I had a parliament of them. I even have more than this, but like I said, just using your embossing folders, paper you have on hand. If you don't have any, go ahead and order some, and your ribbon that you have a little bit of difference, and there you go. There's your steampunk inspired card using that cute little steampunk owl we made using our Owl Builder Punch. Thanks for watching, and I hope you guys all have a great day. Again, this is Brenda with MyPastorsWifeDesigns.com.